What is going on, everyone? Chris with Swagglehaus Comics and Pop Culture. Dan is already in the house stating it is Friday. Yes, it is. All right. So, I am here today with a lot of juiciness, man. I did a video this week. I'm going to be reading through your guys' comments in that video, and that's going to be the bulk of our discussion. Now, bear with me for 1 second because I want to make sure my internet is on point for the live show. All right. So let's take a couple minutes to welcome everyone in. I got some channel updates to go over as always. It's a crazy Friday tonight. Crazy Friday. Linkovich, what's going on? Comic Noob. So basically, we got this show going on right now, right? We're going to go for about an hour as usual. And then A1 Comics is having their 1-year anniversary Instagram live sale. Their Instagram link is below, by the way. So when we're done here, I highly recommend you guys hop over to A1 Comics live sale on Instagram. And then from there, you can hop back over to the Comic Book Canon show. We are live every Friday, Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We got an awesome show, awesome special guest, Como Comics. And then from there, when we're done, A1 Comics is still going to be going on IG because it's a 4-hour-long sale. So then you can hop back over there and check out the rest of their live sales. So Virtuous and Pedro, what's going on, guys? Aha, Virtuous, you made it. Appreciate it. Indeed. So, before I dive into some channel updates for everyone that's here right now, can I get a response to how the internet connection is right now? Because I'm on different wiring. So if you guys can let me know if we're good, we're all good. Just drop a comment saying we're good, because I don't want to start going off into my topics and with us having some internet connectivity issues. So let me know, guys. I've been reading crossover. I just read issue 3 last night. I'm going to start issue 4 today. I'm digging it so far. I like it. I really like it. Hunters, what's going on? Louis Logics. Let's see. Ruben. All right. I'm on a hard line right now, so I'm hoping that helps. I am hoping that helps. All right. So, some channel updates, guys. Some channel updates. 5,000 subscriber contest. All right. 5,000 subscriber contest. Today is your last chance to enter. Today. That's it. All right. And then I'm going to announce the winner in next week's Friday Night Live show. Uh-oh. Okay, we're getting frozen on screen, but can hear you fine. Ooh. All right. I'm gonna try going off the hard line. Hold on 1 second. All right, we're off the hard line. Let's see if that changes it. I'm glad you guys can hear me okay, though. So today is the last day for you guys to enter my 5,000 subscriber contest. What you guys need to do, if you don't know yet, today's the last day. This is all you need to do. You got to be subscribed to my channel, right? At Journos_comics. If you do have an Instagram, if not, don't worry about it. And then you got to make sure you're subbed up to us over on Comic Book Canon. All right. Comic Book Canon's link is below, where we go live every Friday night. Once you do those things, come back over to any one of my videos by the end of tonight and comment in any one of my videos saying I'm subbed to you in Comic Book Canon. That's all you need to do. Don't leave a chat message. You got to comment on a video if you're not entered yet. Anyone, subscribe to me here on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to Comic Book Canon. Those are the 3 things that you need to do. And then comment on any one of my videos, letting me know that you're subscribed to both me and our Comic Book Canon YouTube channel. All right, so that's my update for my 5,000 subscriber contest. Again, the last day to make that happen. I'm leaving it open until like 12 a.m. tonight, all right? And that'll be Pacific time. Now, I will be announcing the winner next Friday. So I do recommend that each and every one of you that entered showed up next Friday. Okay, show up for the live stream because I really want everyone that entered to be here. And when I announce the winner, you could be in the chat and we can, make this happen to where we can get you your prize. So, all right, guys, I took out the hard line for the internet. So if I could get an update in the comments if there was a change in internet connection, let me know, please. While you're doing that, I am going to give an update to my Patreon subscribers. And for those that don't know, my Patreon link is below if you want to help support the channel for only $3.99 a month. I just announced my Patreon winner for a Patreon-only contest. Big shout out to patron of the channel, Larry, for winning that. I will ship that out to you, Larry, next week. I am getting prizes together for the next Patreon-only contest. What we have so far for prizes for that contest are Thor #5, second printing. This is the first appearance of Black Winter. So we got this beautiful, beautiful second print variant. All right. And then we got the third print, the blue variant of the Gleason Amazing Spider-Man 55. I dig it. So those are only a couple of the books that's going to go to another winner when we announce the next Patreon-only contest. So this will probably be announced in June. So anybody that signs up to be a patron before then will be entered into this contest. And keep in mind, anybody that's a Patreon member of the channel will get extra entries into all my YouTube contests. And anyone that's a YouTube member like Comic Toby, what's going on, Comic Toby, who is a YouTube member, will get an extra entry into my 5,000 subscriber contest. EG, what's going on? All right, all right. Yeah, Bearded One. I was on the phone with AT&T for hours the other day thinking that we resolved the issue. Obviously, we haven't. Obviously, we have not. And it's really upsetting me because, yeah, this is our show. And it's not fair to you guys. It's not fair to you guys that I'm sitting here with internet connection issues, right? Big shout out, Louis Logics. Thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. You will get an extra entry into my 5,000 subscriber contest. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate the support. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I am really trying to get this internet going before we get into the main topic. Appreciate that, Louis. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really need to make sure that before I dive into this topic of discussion tonight, that we are connected, and I truly apologize. I'm thinking about taking a 60-second break here and moving into another room. I'm going to try one more thing, guys. One more before I get into tonight's discussion. Ivan Rodriguez just got into comics too. That's awesome, man. So happy to see new collectors. People are always like, new collectors aren't reading comics and coming into the hobby. And I'm like, I see it every day. I see it absolutely every day. SG, I don't have Comcast internet as an option where I live. Messed up, right? messed up. So I'm stuck. I'm stuck. And I'm about to open, to be quite honest, I'm about to open a uh I'm uh I'm about to file suit. I'm about to file suit because the stuff that I dealt with over the last 3 years with this company has been utterly ridiculous. Serge, what's going on, Serge? I read all my books. That's awesome. That is so awesome to hear. I wish I could read all mine. It's a goal, but I know it'll never happen. It'll never happen. So that's why I gotta pick and choose wisely. All right, you know what? I think I see that. Oh man, we got a couple more bars on the internet connection there for a moment. Yeah, guys, give me let's see, it's 4:25. We're gonna give it 5 more minutes. Yeah, T-Mobile only does phone internet, not LAN hardwired, Wi-Fi for the home. We're gonna give it about 4 more minutes, guys, before we get into the main topic of discussion. And I'm sure I'm probably losing viewers because of this internet, and I truly apologize, and it just sucks. I had such a good show planned for all you guys today. Mr. Mitchell, what's going on? Crazy price hike on Strength Shells 159. I've not paid attention to Strength Shells 159 lately. Ultra Maximus, what's going on? Virtuous, looking way less glitchy. That's good to know. Matt, what's going on, Matt? Awesome. Getting better. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. Guys, also, I haven't talked about it lately, but, I like right when we say it's getting better. I'm going to move to the other room. I'm going to finish saying, though, guys, my merch link is below. You guys can get some awesome gear and help support the channel by, grabbing up some Journos Comics merch. Frozen Solid. I know we were like, it's getting better. Frozen Solid. Question, Chris, have you noticed anything with the price and supplies at all? Not too much surge. A little bit. But, hey, inflation, right? All right. This is what I'm going to do, guys. This is what I'm going to do. So everybody in the chat right now, hold tight. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have the show. I am going to take myself out of the stream. All right. And I'm going to go move into the other room. So hold tight, take a bathroom break, grab yourself a drink or something, some munchies, popcorn, and give me about 2 to 3 minutes to get set up again. And we are going to have this show, guys. Okay. So I'm going to pull out of the feed. And like I said, just give me a couple minutes. I will be right back. Keep the chat popping. Keep talking it up, hanging out. I will be right back. All right, all right. Thank you all so much for bearing with me through this. Man, I'm telling you. It is a pain in my butt. I'm sure it's even more a pain in your guys' butt having to do this. You came here to be entertained. You came here to watch a good show, and AT&T is not making that happen. At least I got my Shure mic with me, right? What's going on? What's going on? All right, guys. So, looks like most of you stuck with me. Absolutely appreciate that. Louis, man, I appreciate you. Louis, you are truly, truly appreciated. Thank you so much. Comic Noob, there's no cable line to hook up to. I live just 15 minutes west of Sacramento, where we're right outside where the big outside of AT&T, the big internet providers don't provide. There's no lines. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. All right. Who wants the topic, guys? Who wants the topic of discussion? So, earlier this week, I did a video talking about, are comic books going to be worthless? Is the comic book market going to crash? This has been, I mean, people have been talking about this forever, guys, right? But I've seen it so much over the last couple of weeks. We know that this last year has been crazy. Sales are booming. 9.8s are breaking records. It's absolutely nuts. And I'll say it, it's nuts. It's crazy, but doesn't mean doom and gloom. Shadow, what's going on? So I did a video addressing it. I even took notes going into this video. Darth, what's going on? So basically, I am not a doom and gloomer, okay? I think a lot of people in this community and in this hobby don't understand basic economics. I think they try to, and I think they see stuff on social media. I think they hear stuff from a certain few, maybe YouTubers or people in the social media community, and then they regurgitate stuff. Like you hear keywords all the time that people regurgitate where I don't even think a lot of them know what they mean. It's like correcting itself in the market, right? Or pump and dump and all these things. So I took an approach where I tried to give a very balanced perspective on supply and demand and marketing, in economics and finance, and what markets look like and what a healthy market looks like. So this is what we're going to do. All right. I'm going to actually bring up some data charts. And we're going to do some financing and investing 101. And we're going to look at what healthy markets look like. And we're going to compare that to some examples in the comic book market right now. All right. And then once we do that, I'm going to pull up the video that I did a few days ago about, is the market going to crash? And I'm going to read your guys' comments and I'm going to give it to you uncensored. Some of you may not like what I have to say, but that's okay. Doesn't mean I don't respect you. I respect all of you. I respect debate and argumentation and having respectful discussion, even when people don't agree. But I challenge you to keep an open mind to the things that I'll be saying, right? And I also encourage you to come into an argument or a conversation having an opinion, but understanding when opinion differs from fact. All right? Because too many people use opinion as fact. All right, prime time's in the house. What's going on? All right, here we go, guys. I'm going to pull up on screen we're going to look at some stock market images. All right, Isaac, what's going on, Isaac? We are going to look up some stock market visuals. Here we go. All right, first thing that we're going to pull up, the Dow Jones. All right, I want everyone to pay attention to this right here. Look at this chart right here, and look at this green. You all see that green? You know what that green is? That's the value of the Dow Jones Index on the publicly traded stock market. All right? What do you notice here? Do you notice a straight line? Absolutely not. It's rigid and it looks like nasty teeth, right? Looks like the teeth of a whale or something, right? Yes, but you see something here. You see it go up and then it takes a little dip, up here where it gets even higher. You see little dips and then up again. Then it kind of stagnates and takes a dip. Then it's up again. Oh, nice big dip. Up again, dip, up again, dip, up again, dip, up, big dip, up. All right. Now I'm going to show you the S&P 500 index. Look at this. Very similar, right? Up, dip, dip, up, dip, big dip, up, big dip, up, dip, dip. Here's a dip, up, dip, up, dip. You guys get it, right? I'm going to start singing the song. Up, dip, up. So let me explain something to you for those that don't know. This is what a healthy market looks like. It doesn't matter if it's a stock market, publicly traded index. It doesn't matter if it's Starbucks stock specifically, or, you know, a stock index, right? And it doesn't matter if it's comic books. And I'm going to show you some comic book examples. But before we get into that, I'm going to explain something to you. I'm going to explain something to you guys. All right? And pull this out for a minute. Lionel, what's going on? What you just saw were examples of healthy markets. All right? Healthy markets. What you saw was ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. That's natural. If a healthy market does not have peaks and valleys and ebb and flow like you guys just saw, I would be scared. To me, I wouldn't put my money in it. All right? What you saw was not a crash. Those dips that you saw were not crashes. What you saw in there, though, were a couple of recessions. I'm going to bring it back up now. All right? I'm going to bring this back up. I'm going to show you what recessions did to the stock market. And recessions aren't even a crash. And that's why I've been saying people that use the term crash don't understand what crash means in terms of investing in markets. It's used way too loosely. All right, let's bring this back up. There was a recession, okay, at the end of 2001, beginning of 2002. This is what it looked like. All right. Now, if we zoomed in, you'd be able to see it a lot more clearly because it is a pretty big dip. All right. I mean, if you look at the numbers here, I mean, the market was hitting close to 11,000 points. It dipped down under, 8,000 down to 7,000 and something. All right. Now, this right here. This is the 2008 recession. This was huge because the market lost basically half of its value, almost. Then it started to go up. Now, this is when COVID hit right here. And again, the market took a huge dip, not quite half the value, maybe about a third of the value there. All right. But then it rebounded. What happens after recessions? The market always rebounds. All right. Do you guys know that even what was considered to be the 1929 stock market crash, do you guys know that the market rebounded before we actually went into the Great Depression? Do you know that? It just goes to show you that for the most part, now I'm not going to get into the details of what the 1929 crash is, why that was a crash next to these. I'm not going to go into all that. You guys can do your own research. There was a lot of different variables at play that really separate the 1929 crash next to these dips and these ebb and flow points and peaks and valley points in the stock market, right? All right. But you can look at the S&P, same thing. The recessions affected this index basically the same way. All right. Now, I'm going to bring up some comic book examples, guys. All right. What you see on screen, what does it look like? It looks like a stock market index of what I just showed you, right? This is the fair market value of Werewolf by Night 32 and a CGC 9.8 over the last 9 years. This is actually from a video that I just recorded that I'll be posting next week sometime, so be on the lookout for that. I go deep into data analysis and I talk about what's the best Bronze Age Marvel comic to invest in. I'm not going to give away the answer. You guys are going to have to watch the video, but I use a lot more charts than just this. But let's look at this. This looks almost exactly like a stock market index. Now, it doesn't go back, you know, into the 2008 recession and so forth, but you see ebb and flow in peaks and valleys. Look at this, just like stock market. What does this say to me? What does this chart say to me? It says that this is a healthy market, at least for this book, right? What we have here, Hulk 181. This is, oh, sorry. You know what? This is in an 8.5. This is not 9.8. It's 8.5. That was an error. This is the fair market value of a Hulk 181, 8.5 CGC. What do you see, guys? Similar things, right? Up, dip, up, dip, up, dip, up. And every time it dips, though, it usually, I talk about this all the time in my videos, thresholds. When a healthy market dips, it usually hits a threshold and doesn't go below a certain new threshold floor. It doesn't go usually below the highest peak of the past. So those up dips and up dips are healthy. Look at this. Now, look at what it's been doing this year. That is a high spike. It is absolutely a high spike right here. What does that mean? It means we could see some dip. But does that mean it's going to crash? Absolutely not. Do you know what crash actually means? I don't think most of these people in the comic community understand what crash means. Crash means the money is completely pulled out of the market. Completely. If money was completely pulled out of the market, Hulk 181 would have to see most likely about a 75% decrease in value. That is called bottoming out. Everything that it's done over the last 15 years would have to bottom out. That is not happening anytime soon. Let me pull this out because I can't see the chat when I have those up on screen. So, with these examples, and I know it's only 2 examples, I talked in my video about the modern market, which I call the retail market, right? And that means not just modern books, not modern back issues from 10 years ago. The modern market is the retail market, truly, which is new releases, all right? The secondary market is a thing of its own, and it also consists of different indexes, so to say, right? The S&P 500 is a stock index that consists of different stocks, publicly traded stocks. The Dow Jones is an index of a bunch of publicly traded stocks. You can look at each age in comic books as a stock index. You could say Copper Age comics are a stock index because each comic book within that index is going to do its own thing on the market, right? You can look at modern books from, say, you know, the mid-90s to, you know, to the 2010s as its own stock index. All right? So again, let's not even talk about the entire market. Let's talk about indexes within the comic book market. Okay, let's focus on the modern comic index. Even the modern comic index, for it to crash, I don't think people really understand what that means. Because let me explain something. Especially in the modern market, but even with Bronze Age books and Copper Age books, not every book has high value. Not every book has high value. All right? So if your standard back issues that are from the 2000s were worth cover price in average over the last few years. And over the last couple of years, maybe they doubled. If they went back down to double to cover price, that's not a crash. That's not a crash. All right? So, I'm trying to clarify the fact that in order for a crash to happen, so many different things have to be involved all at the same time. So with that being said, I'm going to go into reading your guys' comments. We're going to pull up the video here, and we're going to go straight into some of these comments. Como in the house. What's up, Como? Guys, we got Como as a guest on the Comic Book Cannon Show tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. We are just over an hour away from the show. I'm so excited. I hope to see all of you guys there. But in the meantime, we're still rolling, and we're going to bring up this video. So here we go. Woo! All right, let me get some water, guys. It's going to be intense. All right. So here we go, guys. If you're in the chat and I read your comments, big shout out to you guys for coming to the channel, watching the channel, being subscribed, and leaving your thoughts. I'm not going to read them all, but we'll just go through them. Dan, big shout out to Dan. I'm 90% collector, 10% investor. Doesn't flip at all. Dan was talking about the fact that you have to understand that the comic book industry has collectors. You know, I talked about investors, flippers, and you know, folks that don't sell at all and collect in hoard like I do. But a lot of us are a little bit of all those things, right? Hibachi says, I'm just a guy that likes comics. I never think about what a book is going to make in terms of money. Awesome, awesome. Mark, I didn't get to, as you guys can see, I didn't get to everyone's comments yet. Let's see what Mark has to say here. Another intelligent analysis, Chris. I'm a collector and investor and in it for the long term. The current extraordinary price rises on certain key comics is not sustainable. There will be a market correction at some stage. Please note, a correction is not a crash. Thank you, Mark. That is 100% fact. Please note, a correction is not a crash. He goes on to state, when everything opens up post-COVID, the money coming into the hobby will dip. People will want to spend on travel, restaurants, clubs, rather than on collectibles. This will cause a correction. Okay. I don't necessarily agree with Mark's wording 100%, but boy, is he speaking some truth here. All right, the main thing to point out is a correction is not a crash. But another thing is this loose use of correction as well. I like to say ebb and flow. I don't even like to use the word correction because when people use the word correction, especially comic book collectors, they act like a fair market value isn't fair market value, and that's not true. That's not true. If an Uncanny X-Men 282 first cameo of Bishop and a CGC 9.8 is selling for over $500 right now, that's a fair market value, and that's what the comic book is worth, period. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be worth that a week from now or a month from now. And I don't like to call that a correction. I like to call it fair market value that changes over time. One thing that I like that he said, though, that Mark said is this. Everyone is blaming unemployment and stimulus money on the prices of comic books right now. And honestly, I can't stand that. First off, and I say, if anyone has been saying that, I say this respectfully, it's actually a bit prejudiced. It is, and ignorant to assume that low-income people that have been struggling, that probably have families to feed and raise, and I've been there myself, are blowing their money on comic books. I'm not saying people aren't blowing money. It happens without stimulus checks. People that can't afford credit cards go into debt, and they blow money on credit cards and are in debt the rest of their lives. Of course it happens, but step outside of that rhetoric. The market isn't what it's doing today because people are blowing their unemployment checks or their stimulus checks. No. To Mark's point, what's happening is people have more disposable income because they're not traveling. They're not taking their kids on vacation to Disneyland. They're not eating out at restaurants, going to clubs, or going to the movies. Now they are. So yes, that's going to take more money out of other things that they were focusing on over the last 12, 14 months. That can allow the market to dip some. Is the market going to crash because of that? Absolutely not. It's going to dip some, but then you know what? The people that have money still it's going to be a buyer's market again. And once it's a buyer's market, that dip, I guarantee you that dip isn't going to go so far below from where it was a couple years ago. And once it dips, buyers are going to start buying, and then it's going to start going up again. That's a natural, healthy market. So thank you, Mark, for that awesome comment. Appreciate it. Trilogy states, screw a crash. I think there's going to be another boom. Marvel Studios has so much content to release and haven't even scratched the surface. Trilogy, you're absolutely right. Marvel Studios hasn't even scratched the surface. Now, I do believe the boom, the comic market boom, is going to continue. But I do believe that there's going to be some cool-off stages somewhere over the next year or two, at least for some areas of the market. For some. Not all. People want to generalize the market. You can't. Just because, Apple stock cools off one day doesn't mean that Starbucks stock is cooling off. And I know because I own both stocks. Apple stock took a dip today. Starbucks stock, boom, today. You can't generalize a market. You can't. So Trilogy, I agree for the most part. I think the industry is healthier than it's ever been. We're going to get some cool off. I don't think we're going to go back to a normal, though. We have evolved into a different world post-COVID, guys. There's going to be a lot of more people working from home, saving money, not commuting, right? And there's a lot of restructuring going on, too. I do believe that we're going to see higher minimum wage increases. I do believe that we're going to see some more premium wages and quality of life offered by big companies like McDonald's, or even Walmart is chain. Walmart's horrible. They don't give their customers crap, or their employees crap, but they're starting to realize that quality of life matters for the health of your business. It means better profits. We're going to start seeing that. And I talked about this in my video, and I never said that the wages are going to catch up to inflation, but wages are going to grow at a rate over the next 5 years that I don't think we've seen since over the last 40 years. I think that we are going to see a little bit of a healthier working middle class over the next 5 years, and that's going to help the market. All right. So let's go on. Let's go on. Hey, Louis Logic, new member of the channel. Hey, Louis. I think Louis was he says, I hope it does crash. I'll be there to scoop up keys on the cheap for when the market goes back up. Call me the Warren Buffett of comics. Here's the thing. This is what I was just saying. Not crash. And I think Louis was just kind of being funny here. But if it dips, it's going to be a buyer's market again. And you're going to have people that are sitting there waiting. They're waiting for that uncanny 266. That in a 9.6 was like maybe $175 a year ago. And now it's like you can't get it under $300. They're waiting for that book to maybe drop back down to $240, $250, and they're going to buy it. And then over the next couple of months after that, it's going to go surpass $300 again. Absolutely. All right, let's see what else we got. Henry says, I don't think people realize what happened in the 90s. I agree. That's the other thing. It is not the 90s here. It is not the 90s here. What did Christopher says? Christopher says, I am one of those investors. I do not buy new comics or go to comic book stores. That's another thing. People think there's so much monetary gain being put into new comics that like new comic books, people aren't reading comics. It's just flippers and investors. Dude, I'm an investor. I don't even buy new comics. I go after Silver and Bronze Age. spend about $60K on comics over the last year and he's not buying modern books. What does that tell you? It tells you that people are buying books on the retail market because they want to collect and read comic books, right? And we're going to be talking about that on the Comic Book Canada show tonight, because we're going to look at the top 10 hottest comics of the week, guys. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to blow your mind, because I'm telling you, people are reading comics. And the current retail market is healthy because we got so many players. And I don't want to give anything away. We'll be talking about that on the Comic Book Canada show. Let's see. Marvel versus DC. I don't believe comics will be worth this, especially the Golden and Silver Age keys. Those are the OGs. I really like that you talked about this topic and try and quiet the naysayers. Appreciate that. The Mighty Mecha says series collecting and investing will require some research, no doubt. Absolutely. That's another thing. We have a lot more savvy investors and collectors in the hobby today. But we also have a lot of people that don't do their research and then cry and complain when something doesn't go their way. D. Barrick, if it goes down, I'll buy some more books. What did I tell you? Healthy market, ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. Watch when it dips. You know, you dip and then you do the nay-nay, right? Dip, baby, dip. Now slide. I mean, come on, man. Dipping is just part of the dance, man. It's just part of the dance. Let's see. I'm trying to get some folks that came at me, because I know there are some of you that came at me hard. Man, I really want to get to people that disagree with me. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Daniel Middleton. Daniel Middleton says, I think there will be a crash because the new books don't have the substance of the older books, and it seems like new collectors are more interested in the comic book covers than the actual stories, which is never good. The Gold and Silver Age comics will always sell, as will the iconic comics, but if it keeps going as it is, we will have another Death of Superman event. Okay, Daniel, I appreciate you sharing this. I disagree with almost everything that you stated. Almost. I agree with the fact, yeah, Gold, Silver Age comics will always sell. Let's see what I said to Daniel here. I gave a nice reply. I said this. I said, Daniel, I appreciate you stopping by and leaving your thoughts. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you, though. I also have to ask if you watched the whole video. I brought up some key points to why the market today is nothing like the 90s. That's the biggest issue I have with Daniel's comments. If it keeps going the way it is, it's going to be another Death of Superman event. Absolutely not. I go on to state, I also feel like you are taking your own personal enjoyment of comics and conveying that outward as if those that collect differently than you are what is hurting the market, which also allows you to make sweeping generalizations. Books today absolutely have substance, and many collectors agree. If that substance is not for you because it's not what you prefer, then that's fine as well. Many collectors collect for the art, true, but there are still a large majority of collectors who actually read comics. I talked about this myth in this video as well. The idea that people don't read comics anymore is extremely baseless, guys. It is. So many people. Look, we just had Rock and Robbie from Pop Culture Philosophers on the Comic Book Canada show last week. If you aren't subscribed to Robbie and Pop Culture Philosophers, what are you guys doing? Robbie has over 10,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. All he does really is book reviews. And I don't mean like what's selling. He reads comics and reviews the stories. He's like the Siskel and Ebert. He's the Siskel and Ebert of comic books. And he gets thousands and thousands of views. And he has more subscribers than I do. But you're telling me that people don't care about the stories and that people aren't reading comics? No. I go on to say this. Also, even if some elements of the industry take a hit, the comic book industry itself will not crash. The comic industry as a whole didn't even crash in the 90s, people. It didn't. The secondary market was thriving and back issues continued to increase in value. This is a fact. I think more and more older folks that grew up with comics in the 70s and 80s simply don't understand how the hobby has evolved. And the only thing they can compare it to is the 90s crash, but don't understand the current state of the industry to know why today's climate can never be like the 90s all over again. And here's what I keep hearing, guys. They print too many books. They're worthless because they print. Do you know that the print runs of today's comics are smaller than they've ever been? There are less UF4s than there are Hulk 181s. Keep in mind, more people are keeping them in more minty condition, right? It's a myth. It's a myth. So again, in here, Daniel, I don't think if Daniel really understands the word crash. But again, it's not the 90s, guys. We aren't mass producing comic books. All right. You don't have investors being disillusioned by basically lies from the publishers. You don't have this rhetoric. You know, you don't have this idea of starting up an LCS is going to get you rich. You know, a lot of investors went and started up LCSs in the 90s and they couldn't sustain it because they thought that they were going to open up a store, you know, get on a diamond order and get, you know, a bunch of copies of Spawn #1, X-Men #1, Spider-Man McFarlane #1, and get rich. People know how to play the market now. They understand the difference between blue chip keys and modern keys. They understand the difference of flipping for short-term profit or holding for long-term gain. The majority of them understand that. All right. And those that don't understand it and complain about prices and say the market needs to correct itself because they missed out on a book or speculators ruin the market. They're just mad because they didn't get their hands on it, but they don't ever leave the hobby. They go right back and blow their next paycheck on comic books. All right, I'm going to go over a couple more comments and then I'm going to hop back into the comment section with you guys to hear your thoughts because like I said, I can't see the chat right now. Let's see. Okay, Trevor B. Big shout out, Trevor B. He says this. Good stuff, man. I like your input and knowledge. What I like about the market is all the new publishers. It's not just the big two anymore. So many new styles and variety of writing. It's so much more diverse than what was being released 30 years ago. Trevor B. Excuse me, guys. This is what I'm going to be talking about on Comic Book Canon tonight. See you there. See you guys there. All right, let's see. Mr. Persia says, blue chip books will never fade away. There's been life in comics before the movie boom. That's true. New books and speculation will thrive as long as there's content to follow it. That's true. Once the shows die, the hobby will take a hit and a bubble could pop. One thing that definitely will happen is an adjustment in pricing. And again, ebb and flow. A book like New Mutants 98 shouldn't be over 2K for a 9.8 whatsoever. This is where I disagree 100%. An adjustment is coming, but the bubble has a lot of life left. Believe that. Again, these terms, bubble. What is a bubble to you? What is a bubble? All right. Do I need to bring this up? Is this a bubble? No, this is a healthy market. Is this a bubble? No, it's a healthy market. Is this a bubble? No, it's a healthy market. They look exactly the same. Where is there a bubble? Just because there's ebb and flow doesn't mean there's a bubble, guys. And look at this. A New Mutants 98 should never be worth 2,000K. Why? Why? You tell me why. By whose law? And Mr. Persia, I'm not trying to attack you. You know me, I get passionate if you watch my channel. But I'm challenging you guys. I'm challenging you. Why? Tell me why. You guys can drop your thoughts in the comments too. I go back to basic economics. Do you guys know what market equilibrium is? You guys should research it. Market equilibrium. A book can only sell on a market at market equilibrium. If a book is set at higher than market equilibrium, or any product or service on a market, it will not sell. It will not sell. If a New Mutants 9.8 is selling for $2K, it's worth that much. Does it mean it'll be worth that much in a couple weeks from now? No. Might be worth less, might be worth more. But right now, it's worth that much because people are willing to pay that much. There's no variable or no factor at play that says a certain book shouldn't be worth X amount of dollars. None. If demand exceeds supply, that price will continue to rise, and those that demand that book will do what they can to own that book. So what did I say? What did I say here? I didn't see Mr. Persia's response, but I said this. I'm gonna go over this, guys, and then I'm gonna get into your guys' comments. I appreciate your thoughts and will respectfully disagree with you. Yes. Let me get some water here. You say definitely will happen. What did he say will definitely happen? He said one thing that'll definitely happen is an adjustment in pricing. What does he mean by adjustment? For one, you say it'll definitely happen. How do you back up a statement of saying that? You say a certain book shouldn't be worth $2K. According to whom? According to what science? As for adjustments, all healthy markets make adjustments, but adjustments are not crashes or pops, meaning bubbles. And after healthy adjustments, prices then resume their upward movement. What did I just say? After healthy adjustments, prices then resume their healthy upward movement. Resume their healthy upward movement. All right? Fact. I go on to say this. As for TV shows and movies, they are only beginning. These movies and shows are going to be around most likely long after we are dead. They have new content and new characters to last for decades. Fact. All right, let's see what Mr. Persia replied, because I have not seen this yet. Definitely will happen, meaning the prices will adjust, matching the availability of the book. A book like New Mutants 98 can be bought literally anywhere because it was so highly printed. I'm going to get to this. If you are selling books, sorry, I'm a grammar Nazi. If you are, you apostrophe R-E, if you are selling books, you are definitely winning, but the prices will absolutely adjust. It's already happened many times. As far as everything else, I agree with you. Like I stated, never said anything about crashes, my friend. It's a thriving industry, and I'm in it till the day I die. Okay, Mr. Persia, again, appreciate that. So I hear Mr. Persia and what he's saying and what he's talking about. I think what he's really talking about is just, ebb and flow. He's talking about ebb and flow, but I think he's being a little too general. He's generalizing it. And I got to say this about what he's saying about New Mutants 98 is not fact. People get too caught up on print run. Way too caught up on print run. All right. Mr. Persia is making a couple assumptions here. He's making an assumption that you can find the book anywhere. No, you can't find it anywhere. What do you mean by anywhere? What does that mean? Is there always some on the market at any given time? Probably. You can probably go to eBay, and at any given time, there's going to be a New Mutants 98. But every New Mutants 98 isn't created equal. Is it high grade? Is it low grade? Is it newsstand? Is it direct? Is it CGC'd? Is it PGX'd? Is it 9.8? Is it 8.0? All of those things have different demand. Every raw book that's different. Every grade, every slab has a different demand. You can't look at what the demand for a CGC 9.8 is. next to a raw book of a New Mutants 98. You can't. It's two different demands. Okay? Here's another thing. Print run. First off, I believe New Mutants 98 had a print run somewhere between 300 to 400,000. All right? That's high, but it's not like the ones in the millions, right? Guess what else had a print run close to 300,000? Amazing Spider-Man number 300. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. You assume that everyone has theirs on the market. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Supply, print run does not equate to supply. Supply only equates to the availability of the amount of product on the market at any given time. The supply of New Mutants 98 can be one number today and it can be one number tomorrow. It could be less today and more tomorrow. So yeah, here's the thing. If tomorrow everybody that has a New Mutants 98 decides to sell their New Mutants 98, that's gonna crash the price of the book. But that is not going to happen. Do you know what the chances of that happening are? Now, there's what can create ebb and flow is buyer market and seller's market. I just talked about that. So yes, we are in such a seller's market right now that there could be more New Mutants 9.8 flooding the market over the next coming months. I think that's very feasible. It's very possible to happen. And that could essentially drive the value of the book down some. Ebb and flow. But then it's going to become a buyer's market again. And the demand is going to start going up and exceeding supply again. And then the price of that book is going to increase again. Healthy market. Healthy market. And you can't sit here and tell me that this book or that book shouldn't be worth X amount of dollars. Nobody can make a statement like that. Woo! All right, let me get some water, guys. Let me get some water. I want to involve you all now. I want to look at some comments. If you guys have any questions or if you have any, points of discussion to everything that I've just been saying. I'm a little coarse today, guys, man. I'm a little coarse. Apologize. All right. Let's see what we got. D. James. People don't realize the comic book market is just catching up to the sports cards market. If you think comics are expensive, I suggest you go take a lot of blue chip cards. Yeah, D. James, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. And finally, here's the thing. Finally, the sports cards market. Now, the funny thing is, what happened in the 90s with comic books was a blip compared to what happened to the sports cards market. It was nothing. The sports cards market literally bottomed out. Literally. To where it even affected the value of blue chip cards. They finally are starting to they've learned to evolve the market, and it's finally showing, right? So I hear you. I hear you there. John Bowman fired up. You know me. I love it. I love this stuff, man. I love talking about this stuff. Serge is talking about Warlock books. Don't get me started on Warlock books. Look, man. Hey, look. We've seen what's happened with Darkhawk number 1. Any book can gain value, no matter the print run. Will it be more volatile? Sure. If there's more out there, is that going to make it harder to reach high level values? Absolutely. But that's only one variable. Print run is only one variable. Whew. Yeah, guys. So again, man, you know me, guys. Look. I'm gonna sum it up like this, okay? Things are changing right now in the world, in the economy. We have most likely are seeing the last of the stimulus checks, at least here in the States. unfortunately. I think there could have been a little bit more structured and done. I think there could have been a lot more done for small businesses. I'm not going to get into the politics and all that, though, but people are getting back to work. People are getting back to eating out, taking vacations, and spending money elsewhere. I do believe some of these prices are going to cool off a little bit. I do. Not all of them. Not all of them. Look, here's the thing. Werewolf by Night 32 has skyrocketed. And it may cool off over the next couple of months. But as soon as we get a trailer for that book, for the Moon Knight show, that book is going to go nuts. That book is going to go nuts. There is no way that book is going to cool off so much that it's going to have a hard time continuing to grow. Absolutely. And I'm still, look, if I'm wrong, you guys can find me when I'm wrong, and I'll admit it. There's no way. Look at these X-Men books. Now, maybe, you know, I'm not talking about Uncanny 282 and Bishop, but we talk about even Hulk 181. That's been constantly rising year after year and has had a huge increase so far this year. Even that book could cool off, ebb and flow. But all of these X-Men books that have been on fire, when we get any real announcements, wow. Ain't getting back to work and lack of stimulus money ain't going to slow those X-Men key books down. Hell no. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Miles Morales, UF4, all the haters. It's had its cool-off values. When it hit 1K, it came back down to 800. Then it hit 1,500. Came back down a little bit. It hit over 3K. We're going to have Into the Spider-Verse coming out. When we get a trailer for that, even if it cools off a little bit, don't tell me that this book is going to have trouble to continue to increase in value. Don't tell me. And here's the thing. 9.8s. 9.8s. 9.8s are something to really look at over the next year, because now I don't know if the 9.8 market will cool off once we start getting back to getting into post-COVID. But I think it can either continue to sell, because here's the thing with 9.8s. The 9.8 market, and I've talked about this, is a market in and of itself. And the 9.8 market is attracting the attention of big money buyers, big money collectors, those high rollers, and high rolling investors. All right. So it does, you know, disposable income doesn't mean nothing to them in any type of economy. That's one thing that could keep the 9.8 market thriving. If there is 9.8 burnout, though, here's the thing. The 9.8 market booming is driving the value of the lower grades as well. But if there's 9.8 burnout, that as well can drive the value of lower grades, because people are going to start saying, I'm not going to buy 9.8s. I'm going to put my money into 9.6s. Money gets shuffled around all the time. This comic book industry is healthy. The comic book industry in so many ways had its best year in 30 years in 2019, before COVID. The comic book industry was on an upward trend like it had never seen before COVID. People don't look at that. They don't. Here's another thing too. Here's another thing that people don't understand. People have taken money out of the stock market and invested into tangibles. Crypto, for one, and comic books. Apple, what's going on, Apple? John Bowman, I got a Xmas 16 from the 80s, bought at Covrprice at CGC right now. Nice. Guys, comic books have proven themselves to be recession-proof too. I talked about this in that video. In the 70s, during some of the highest inflation rates ever, and during the recession back then, comic books continued to increase in value. All right. In the early 2000s, during the recession in the early 2000s, the comic book industry was bouncing back during a recession. And in the 2008 recession, for those years, we saw increases that we never saw before. Ebb and flow, people. Ebb and flow. So I'm going to try wrapping it up here, guys. We'll see what happens. I'll be following the market. We're hopefully going to be in a different place this summer, and of course at the end of the year. Alfred, what's going on? So I'll keep talking about it, and you guys keep talking about it too in the comments of my videos and in these chats. But there's not going to be a crash. There's not this bubble that's just going to pop. Certain books can bubble up, like maybe West Coast Avengers 45 it might be a bubble. I don't know. I can't say that it is, because you never know with these things. But the market as a whole is not a bubble. It's a healthy market. Are we heading into cool-off periods? Quite possibly, for at least some books. But that's a good thing. All that means for you guys as collectors, be ready. Be ready. Be ready to make some sound decisions, because what's been a seller's market for the last year could easily become a buyer's market really quick, which then again can easily flip it back into a seller's market. And that's the beauty of this hobby, and that's the beauty of every healthy market. So with that being said, everyone, I appreciate you all being here today. Thank you all for sticking around through the beginning where we had the internet issues and I had to switch rooms. I'll be calling AT&T yet again next week. So thank you all. I'm glad we were able to have this discussion finally. Yeah. So again, guys, be smart. Just be smart with your collecting and your investing. At the end of the day, that's all I got to say. Collect what you love. In the good words of OMG Chris, collect what you're passionate about. Share it with us on YouTube here, and just keep enjoying the hobby. You know, that's all we got to do. No matter what happens, keep enjoying the hobby. Keep the optimism. SG. Oh, big shout out to Bearded One, but meant to grab SG here. Awesome show, Chris. Great info. Looking forward to some comic book canon. Thank you so much, SG, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. All the support that you guys give me week in and week out. I put a lot, as you guys see. I'm calm and collect right now because I got to save some of my energy for the canon show because I was getting into it there. So appreciate you, SG. Thank you so much, so much. Big shout out to all my Patreon subscribers. Thank you all so much. I see a lot of you in the chat every week. Chef RD, when do you see Hulk 181 or Giant Size 1 going down? I don't. Going down now, again, I mean, there could be slight cool-off periods, Chef, but going down, good luck. Good luck. But I'm going to have a video, Chef. Check out the video that I'm going to post next week talking about these Bronze Age key books. Jojo, thank you so much, Jojo. Thanks for listening in. Appreciate it. So yeah, guys, just look, stay optimistic and respect others. Respect how others collect. And if we disagree, let's have a respectful conversation. Even with getting passionate, we can get passionate about it, right? So thank you all again. Remember, guys, go hop over, check out A1 Comics live sale for a little bit, and then on their Instagram, and then come check us over on the Canon. Big shout out, Drew with Como Comics, joining us tonight. We are just 36 minutes away. All right. And again, check out all the awesome links below. Big shout out to my patrons. Big shout out to my YouTube members as well. If you want to learn how to become a YouTube member, it's only $1.99 a month, guys. If you sign up today, you will get an extra entry into my 5,000 subscriber contest. But today is the last day to enter that contest. So No good. What's going on? All right, guys. I am out. Thank you guys so much again for an awesome stream. Dan, thank you so much. Hope to see you guys in just 35 minutes over on the Canon. Peace.